Aaron.
Yeah.
Why didn't you say it the first time I said Aaron?
Because it's pronounced Aaron?
You done messed up, Aaron!
Aaron is right here, everyone. Thank you for joining me for some more SPTV on this fine Friday afternoon. Guys, you longstanding viewers know I've got a very firm rule on my channel. Absolutely no partisan politics of any kind whatsoever. Let's be honest, guys. That's not what you come to me for. And that's not what I'm here to give you. And I promise, even though this video is about Tucker Carlson, there are no politics involved in this. And by the way, I want to thank viewer Timothy for sending me this clip from the Jimmy Dore show. It looks like it might have actually been yesterday or the day before. Guys, I'll tell you why I want to highlight this clip. This clip I'm about to show you, I think, serves as a perfect example of how the only allies that Scientology has in local government, state, national government, or in the political field are the allies they actually pay for. Nobody in their right mind who isn't on Scientology's payroll supports Scientology's abuse, trafficking, covering up of crimes, pretending to be a religion, cloaking themselves in the terminology and symbology of mainstream religion, using a cross, even though they don't believe in Jesus or God or anything religious other than L. Ron Hubbard. Nobody other than attorneys, Scientologies, and lobbyists, and their fake multi-faith coalition members support Scientology. And even people who are on Scientology's payroll secretly and privately hate Scientology and only pretend not to because they're taking Scientology's sweet, sweet, dirty money. And also the other reason why I wanted to play this particular clip is because there are so many Scientologists in the bubble who think Tucker's their man. They think Tucker speaks for them. They think Tucker represents their interests. And I don't mean as Americans or as Republicans, but I mean as Scientologists. And I wanted to highlight this clip because I just want to really shove Scientology's face in the fact that nobody supports Scientology's abuse and that Scientology's reputation is even worse than you guys still living in the bubble think that it is. I have more thoughts on this. This is an extremely short clip, you guys, but let me just share it with you. Let's walk and roll.
Why are they paying no money? I'd love to hear a debate on that.
You drive down Hollywood Boulevard and it's filled with Scientology buildings and some of the most expensive real estate in Los Angeles, and they not have to pay any taxes because L. Ron Hubbard is a nonprofit, so he's a religion. He's a religion somehow.
Yes, and they got that by suborning the IRS commissioner under Bill Clinton. And I'll never forget when that happened. And I ran into that guy at the TSA line in National Airport right after he made that decision to make Scientology a, quote, religion under U.S. tax law. And I did not have the balls to ask him. I stood right next to him in this TSA line. Fred Goldberg, I think his name was. And I want to say, you really gave tax-exempt status to L. Ron Hubbard? But it was one of those great moments in my life that I wasted through cowardice.
APEC had a...
That's it, you guys. It's just that short clip. But I guarantee you, 80% of the Scientologists think that Tucker's their guy. And I just want them to have to sit there and process or deal with the cognitive dissonance of a guy that they think represents their values, I guess. Also thinks that one of the most heinous things the IRS ever did was grant Scientology tax exemption. I also wonder how many Scientologists in the bubble still think that 1993 was the first time that Scientology got tax exemption. I can tell you that me growing up as a good little Scientologist and a Scientology staff member, I always certainly was under the impression that David Miscavige accomplished something in 1993 that had never been accomplished before, getting the U.S. government to grant Scientology tax exempt status. Scientology had tax exempt status back in the early days, and the IRS took it away because they determined that L. Ron Hubbard was personally enriching himself through the funds of Scientology. which is something that Scientologists are told. In fact, Scientologists are told that not only did L. Ron Hubbard never make any money off of Scientology, but he loaned millions of his own dollars to Scientology to keep it afloat. Scientologists actually believe that the only reason L. Ron Hubbard died with something like $600 million in assets is because he was just that successful of a science fiction writer. For most of you guys who might have read any of L. Ron Hubbard's science fiction works, I think you know that is not the case. Okay, the only reason Scientology has any influence at all is because of how much money it spends on lobbyists and attorneys. I live in Clearwater, Florida. So people here who do Scientology's bidding, even though they really don't like Scientology, are Mary Repper, Ed Armstrong, Katie Cole, Brian Onks Jr., Joe Burdett, Wally Pope. You can probably throw disgraced former Clearwater Mayor Frank Hibbard onto that list. On a more national level, I wonder how many people know that Greta Van Susteren is an extremely high-level Scientologist and has been for many decades. Greta Van Susteren is an OT8. Greta Van Susteren has done as much Scientology as Tom Cruise. She doesn't like to talk about Scientology very much, does she? I wonder how many people think Greta Van Susteren is actually a Christian. Greta Van Susteren's husband, John P. Cole, also a very high-level Scientologist, powerful attorney in the halls of Washington, D.C. And it is people like Greta and her husband. See, Greta and her husband are the people who, they do it for free. They do it because they're Scientologists. They're not even taking Scientology's sweet, dirty money. They're doing it just for the pleasure of serving His Holiness, David Miscavige. And then you see these fake reverends, these fake ministers in Scientology's fake multi-faith coalitions that will speak to the press saying Scientology must be protected because of freedom of religion and all this stuff. I can tell you that inside the Scientology bubble, these fake multi-faith coalitions, the members of said coalitions are just on there because they're taking Scientology's sweet, dirty money. Those coalitions really do give Scientologists who are still living in the bubble the impression that the country at large, the religious community, one might even say the conservative community, really does have Scientology's back. And the fact is, that's just not true. That's just what David Miscavige wants its members to believe. It's also what David Miscavige wants, in a greater sense, the media at large to believe, so that they will hesitate to write critical articles about Scientology. And that's another reason why I wanted to show this clip, to try and pierce through, break that illusion that Miscavige has somewhat successfully created, that Scientology is actually really supported in the halls of power. And it really isn't, you guys. It really isn't. Okay, just a short one. I have so many things to talk about today. I'm struggling to pick which ones I'm going to. I could do 10 videos today. It's incredible. Okay, let me see. We got a message here from my favorite CO Bilf. Emery Mead equals deep state. I think Emery Mead is one of the attorneys that was involved in the tax exemption? CO Bilf, I think that's what you're talking about. Let me see. Amanda A. Hall. Forgive me, I'm not going to bring that one up. It just doesn't feel like the right morning to stir the shit pot, if you will. But I do appreciate your super chat, and I'll answer your question privately. All right, everyone. Thanks for joining me, however briefly, this wonderful Friday afternoon. So much more to come. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. You guys know what to do. Thanks to everyone who watches until the very end, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right here. Bye.